You see AI taking over the creative world. They're making this art based on other things. So let's see, can it be creative when it comes to cooking?
Give me 5 unusual cheesecake recipes.
Okay, so first of all is matcha cheesecake, which definitely if you're more from the western side, you can call it unusual, but I think if you're Japanese or more on the Asian side, you probably wouldn't consider it unusual. Black sesame cheesecake. Again, black sesame I know is very popular in Japan. Lavender cheesecake. Lavender into cheesecake filling. Crust can be made with graham crackers or shortbread cookies. Well, it's nice that at least it didn't put lavender in the crust, because that would have been really bad. Beer cheesecake. Okay, I haven't heard of beer cheesecake before. Rich multi-flavors of beer into cheesecake filling. The crust made by graham crackers, infused with beer of your choice, topped with a caramelized beer reduction to give an extra thick flavor. Okay, so definitely we need to follow up on the beer cheesecake because I've never seen this before. So I couldn't stop thinking about that beer cheesecake. I just had to try it. Yeah, I mean, it's cheesecake. It's super easy to make. Let's give it a try and see what happens. So I'll meet you on the other side.
Give me a step-by-step recipe for the beer cheesecake, plus an ingredient list with quantities.
Alright, I'm gonna crack open a cold one. ChatGPT's recipe, it was saying that I should use my favorite type of beer. Usually recommended is Guinness, so stout type beer. I couldn't find Guinness. I got this one. Looks really cool. It has like the witch from Hansel and Gretel. Let's get to it and see what happens.
First, a quick quality check. Is good. For the caramelized beer reduction, I added the sugar, beer and butter and cooked it for the advised 15 to 20 minutes. It reduced quite a lot. More on this in a bit. For the base, the recipe that ChatGPT wrote actually omitted the initial mentioned pretzels, and I completely forgot about it. Yeah, it is what it is. So I used the butter biscuits I regularly use for cheesecake, plus the amount of sugar and butter it asked, which wasn't actually enough. I had to add 20 grams more. This is how I get the crumbs off the sides. ChatGPT did not say to pre-bake the crust, which I think it's a big error. I followed the indications from my pumpkin cheesecake recipe for the crust. And the filling is the main thing anyway. Speaking of it, we have cream cheese, sugar, vanilla extract and then the stout beer. No sour cream, but for the filling I'm not going to deviate from what ChatGPT wrote. In go the eggs, whisked in one by one. I had quite a bit more filling, but this might be because I actually reduced the ingredient quantities to fit in a smaller 9-inch pan. I decided to use a water bath despite ChatGPT omitting it. It will help in avoiding cracks on top so that we can drizzle that beer syrup reduction.
So the cheesecake is almost done. There's only 4 minutes left to go. Let me see if I can zoom in. That's kind of how it looks on the top, which was to be expected. There's a lot of bubbles there, but it hasn't cracked. And that's because of the water bath. And this is the cool down version of the beer reduction / caramel, but as you can see, it's completely solid. So it's going to be a bit tough to make that spread over the cheesecake.
So I heated it up in warm water until I was able to barely transfer it into a saucepan with some additional water so that can be poured on top of the cheesecake. Speaking of which, here's the cheesecake the next day after cooling and chilling in the fridge. It's separated from the crust in some places, but there's no cracks on top. Now, let's see if it separates from the ring around it. Aw yeah, baby. I actually shared this cheesecake with a few friends and everyone liked it, especially my beer-loving friend. So I'll leave the adjusted recipe in the video description below if anyone wants to give it a try. And while you're down there, please drop a like and subscribe, it helps a lot.
Very nice and creamy. This beer syrup thing is definitely a bit too much. I don't like how stringy it is. I actually ended up eating it all, so it's definitely eatable. It's also extremely sweet.